What if the difference between the life you have and the life you want is simply refusing to stop? Thomas Edison failed to create a working light bulb over 9,000 times. He never called them failures. He called them steps. So what actually separates the people who quit from the people who become legends? The answer isn't talent. Picture this. You're exhausted, doubting yourself, one step from walking away. Every person who ever succeeded once stood exactly here. There's a hidden switch inside your brain that decides whether you push forward or shut down. Most people never learn to find it. Scientists call it grit, a rare mix of passion and persistence that predicts success better than intelligence ever could. Today, we're uncovering the science, the stories, and the surprising truth behind one simple question. What if you never gave up? Psychologist Angela Duckworth spent years studying high achievers and found one trait connected them all. Not genius, but sustained effort toward a goal.
When asked about his failures, Edison famously replied he hadn't failed. He'd simply found thousands of ways that didn't work yet. Studies show most breakthroughs arrive only after repeated failure. Success rarely comes on the first try. It comes on the 100th. Your brain is wired to seek comfort and avoid pain. Quitting feels good instantly, which is exactly why it's so tempting and so misleading. Colonel Sanders was rejected over 1,000 times before a single restaurant said yes to his chicken recipe. Today, it's a global empire. Author Seth Godin calls this stretch the dip, the exhausting middle where most people quit, right before things start getting easier. Small, consistent actions barely feel like progress day to day, but stacked over months and years, they quietly compound into extraordinary results. Consider bamboo. For 5 years, it grows unseen beneath the soil. Then, in just 6 weeks, it shoots 90 feet into the sky. The Wright Brothers crashed, rebuilt, and crashed again for years before their first successful flight. Persistence, not luck, gave humanity wings. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter found a home. One single yes was all it ever needed. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He used that rejection as fuel, not as proof he wasn't good enough. Every time you push through difficulty, your brain physically rewires itself. Neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. Struggle literally builds new capability. Psychologist Carol Dweck discovered that people who believe abilities can grow persist far longer than those who believe talent is simply fixed. Every meaningful goal looks like an impossible mountain from the bottom. The climbers who make it aren't stronger. They just kept climbing. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison for his beliefs. He emerged not broken, but ready to lead a nation toward freedom. After surviving an assassination attempt for demanding education, Malala Yousafzai didn't retreat. She became the youngest Nobel Prize laureate in history. What kept these people going wasn't willpower alone. It was purpose, a reason big enough to outlast the pain of the struggle. Author James Clear argues you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. Persistence isn't a burst of motivation, it's a daily habit. But never giving up doesn't mean never changing course. The smartest persisters adapt their strategy constantly, while staying loyal to their purpose. Sylvester Stallone was rejected over 1,000 times trying to sell his Rocky script, and refused every offer that meant giving up the lead role. Roughly 9 out of 10 startups fail. The ones that survive often only exist because their founders refuse to quit after the 10th setback. Small wins, repeated daily, build unstoppable momentum. One workout becomes a habit. One habit becomes an identity. An identity becomes a result. Success looks effortless from the outside, but like an iceberg, 90% of the effort stays invisible, hidden beneath the surface. Every failure carries information. The people who keep going don't ignore their mistakes. They study them, adjust, and try again smarter. Sarah Blakely pitched Spanx to manufacturer after manufacturer.
hearing no again and again. She kept going and became a self-made billionaire. No one persists entirely alone. Mentors, communities, and even a single believer can be the difference between quitting and continuing forward. Research comparing quitters and persisters finds one consistent gap. Persisters reframe setbacks as temporary, while quitters see them as permanent. Plot persistence on a graph, and it barely rises at first. Then, almost without warning, the curve bends upward, sharply, and all at once. So, what can we actually take from all these stories, all this science, and turn into something we can use starting today? Lesson 1. Persistence isn't a personality you're born with. It's a skill, and like any skill, it can be trained and strengthened. Lesson 2. Connect your effort to a purpose bigger than comfort. Purpose is what makes the hardest days survivable. Lesson 3. Stay flexible with your strategy, but stubborn with your goal. Change the how, but never abandon the why. Lesson 4. Trust small, consistent action, even when you can't see results yet. The compound effect is real, and it is patient. Practical step: start treating every failure as data, not judgment. Ask what it's teaching you, then apply that lesson immediately. Practical step: build systems, not just willpower. Surround yourself with people who expect you to keep showing up. The people who shape history rarely do it in one leap. They do it by refusing to stop, one ordinary day at a time. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone exhausted and doubting themselves is one more attempt away from everything changing. So ask yourself honestly, what if you never gave up? What might be waiting for you on the other side of the struggle? The mountain doesn't move for anyone, but climbers who keep walking always eventually reach the top. If this story reminded you why persistence matters, subscribe for more journeys into the science of human potential. Because the world isn't changed by the most talented people. It's changed by the ones who simply refuse to quit.